Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Josh Thomas here from the BitBlock, and once again, we are going to have some fun discussing something Nintendo related. This time, we're going to be chatting about the Nintendo Directs, and I am joined this time by Austin from Nintendo Everything.
For the first time ever.
For the first time in ever.
We've yelled at each other on Twitter for how many months, Josh? How many months?
It feels like years.
And we're finally going to yell at each other in person, except that this is the one topic we probably agree on. So it'll be the one time we won't be yelling at each other about whatever we normally yell about.
Oh, well, this is going to be hugely disappointing then.
Well, I'll try. I'll play devil's advocate. I'll just be the opposite of you the whole time, I guess.
All right. Sounds good. So, yeah, I mean, we both really want to talk about Nintendo Direct.
Yes. Just the beautiful way that Nintendo has videoized their press releases.
Okay, so actually, I mean, you probably have a lot to say. You go for it. What do you think? What did you think of Nintendo Direct, let's say 2 or 3 years ago when it was kind of, popping up every 2 months?
Well, it was was it December of 2011 that the first one was, or like October? It was late 2011. And at first it was really exciting because it was like a little E3 every couple of months, and that's always exciting. And then it kind of morphed into, over the intervening couple of years, it kind of morphed into just like a really entertaining way of getting information from press releases that nobody is going to read anyway. I don't think I've ever read a press release front to back. And so these work a lot better for me in terms of getting information and stuff. And it eventually became something that was actually really entertaining. I don't know if you found it, stuff like the Tomodachi Direct, right? I found that really funny. And that it gave me a really good idea of what the game was. And it was relatively short, 10 or 15 minutes. And I thought, had they put that into a press release, I probably would not have purchased that game, nor would I have laughed as hard as I did at Bill Trinan and all the folks at the Treehouse that I always laugh at. So for me, it's half entertainment and half information, because you could get the information from summaries on websites anywhere, right? It's not like it would be hard to get, but I sure do like this way of doing it at the very least.
Right. So originally when they started the Nintendo Direct, it was kind of like a variety show of talking about all of their products coming out.
Right. Like a high school AV club talks about video games kind of thing. And I loved it.
Right. And now we really haven't gotten one of those in a long time. It's when we get a Nintendo Direct, it's very specific about one game.
Right. Bayonetta 2 Direct was the most recent one. Tomodachi Life Direct, which again, I don't mind. Tomodachi one is great. But yeah, there is that. It's no longer the variety show that it used to be.
See, the problem that I kind of find in just doing one game is that if you didn't have any interest in the game to begin with, you're probably not going to sit down and watch that.
Exactly. It doesn't make. I mean, it makes a little bit of sense, but that's exactly the thing. Is like if they did, for example, had I not already been interested in Tomodachi Life because it just looked really weird. Let's say they did one about like Fantasy Life, right? Which is a game a lot of people maybe aren't that familiar with.
Right.
I probably wouldn't click on it because I don't have any, pre-built interest. But if they said, Nintendo Direct's about some stuff, and they didn't specify, it was like, just games that are coming out, I'd sit down and I'd watch it, and then I'd learn about Fantasy Life, and it would be a lot more effective that way. So, it's been all specifics except for the E3 one, if that counts.
Another thing that I think is kind of interesting when they do the sort of variety Nintendo Direct is there's a lot of speculation beforehand. Even like major websites will speculate.
And either they under-speculate and they're kind of like, it's whatever. And then Nintendo's like, never mind, everything has changed. New 3DS, something or other.
Right.
Or everyone over-speculates and then they just give us some little trailers and everyone's disappointed. So it's exactly right. It's when they don't tell you what's going to happen, it's more exciting and more people are going to care about it. When they do tell you, when it's all about a game that you don't know or care about already, who cares? You're not going to look at that. Mm-hmm. I don't care. And I like Nintendo a lot and I don't even watch it. So
I remember they did one for the Wonderful 101 and I didn't watch that one.
Well, admittedly, if we were to make a list of best Nintendo Directs, it's the Tomodachi Life one for me is number one. And then that one's second because it was Hideki Kamiya pretending to be Satoru Iwata, which was really funny. But no, I see completely what you're saying.
Have you watched all of the Nintendo Directs?
Absolutely not. Not even close, man. Like I probably watched all of the variety show ones and then a handful of I didn't even watch the Bayonetta 2 one, and I'm gonna get that game. Like I'm really interested in it,
Mhm.
but I already know I'm going to buy it. So whatever. I don't need to see more trailers for it. So I don't have you. Did you prepare for this discussion by watching 7 hours of Nintendo Direct?
Let's say that I did. I didn't, but
Okay.
let's say that I
You
did.
sound as informed as someone who did. So it's we'll pass on that one.
Yeah, so I think we can both agree that when Nintendo Directs are all about like a mystery and you don't know what they're going to show, that's when you are very sure you want to watch it.
Yes, absolutely. And it's because everyone gets all built up in the excitement. Now the interesting thing is you tweeted something and you said, where's Nintendo Direct? Blah, blah, blah. You said something about Nintendo Direct.
That sounds like
and,
me.
Right. And then a few minutes later, you sent me a message and you're like, you want to talk about it. I'm wondering why because I miss them a little bit, but it doesn't upset me that much. Why does this upset you as much as it does? What is it that you love so much about the Nintendo Directs that we no longer have?
I think that a lot of people might be able to relate to that excitement you have when all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, all the news sites are, reporting that Nintendo has announced a new Nintendo Direct. It's going to talk about Wii U games or 3DS games. And you've got that like 24-hour period or 2 days where it's just like, oh my gosh, what are they going to show? Is it going to be something new about Mario Maker? Or are they going to talk a little bit about Splatoon and maybe we'll get some stuff about Captain Toad? And that kind of feeling of really just kind of every 2 months or so being very excited and connected to Nintendo's products, that's kind of evaporated a little bit because they don't really do it anymore.
That's a good point. I can definitely understand and relate to that. I mean, you get it at E3 and it used to be you only got it at E3, maybe
Right.
one other time. And so, no, that's a really good point. It's cool to see your whole Twitter feed and like a bunch of different websites, and it'll pop up maybe on your social media, whatever. People are all talking about Nintendo, and that's really cool. You're right; it connects you with the products in a way that you don't normally get connected with. That's a good point.
It keeps them in the public eye consistently.
It does, and that's probably why they initially wanted to do it. So then the question becomes, if we're to speculate, which is always a bad idea, but we do it because that's what these are. Discussion videos are for. Why aren't they doing it? Is it because they don't have anything to talk about?
So I'm going to let you go first with that one, and then I'll speculate. Why do you think they don't do the variety kind of Nintendo Direct anymore?
Well, I was thinking about it before you gave me this telephone ring and before we started talking. And I think, what do they have that they could do a Direct about? Smash Brothers, we don't need one. There's plenty of information on that. Bayonetta, already did one. In terms of making a variety Smash Brothers, they're not going to do one for what's coming out next year because they need to stay focused on the holiday lineup, right? That's all business strategy. Mm-hmm. So holiday lineup, they could do one with some Captain Toad, Fantasy Life, and Pokemon, and then maybe throw in Smash and Bayonetta, but they've already talked so much about those. So there actually really isn't that much for them to go into. So if I had to venture a guess, which I don't have to, but I'm gonna.
I'm forcing you.
Right. Yeah, it's effectively gunpoint at this point. When I see that Skype icon of yours with the camera pointed at me, it's very threatening. So no, my guess would be they just don't think that there's enough to fill up a variety Direct. And so they're going to wait until December when we get a Direct about what's coming out next year, and that'll be that.
You make a good point. I guess that really, they really don't have a whole lot of games that are coming out for the rest of this year that they could pull together and do something with.
Right.
Because I would expect there will be a Nintendo Direct for specific things. I think Smash Brothers for Wii U will get a Nintendo Direct before launch. I think Amiibo will definitely, at least.
You're right. I forgot about Amiibo. We could maybe get a Smash/Amiibo Direct. Mm-hmm. That's probably a safe bet because Amiibo. I feel like I don't even know that much about. Not the figures, but the implementation of the figures in the games.
Nintendo doesn't know enough about the implementation.
It seems a little bit like that when you hear, hey, Captain Toad's coming out. Oh, that's the thing with the Amiibo? No, not yet. Later. So it's like, well, do you not know? So yeah, I suppose there is a little bit of that. Maybe Nintendo is still on the fence. So maybe forcing them to put together a beautiful video project for all of us will make them figure out what Amiibo is for. So no, yeah, that's a good point though. Amiibo could pop up in a Direct at some point, and you're probably right. I think it will.
But I think we both agree, at least no time soon will we be seeing the return of that whole variety, crazy compilation of news.
There's a history of the last couple of years where we get one. I don't remember if it's in December or early January where we get a Direct about the first 6 months up to E3. of both of their systems, right? We got one last year, and I'm guessing, given the fact that Splatoon is supposed to be early next year, and
Oh, is
Mario
it?
Maker, yeah, they said early 20. I'm
Oh.
first half 20. I don't know if they said quarter one or if they just said early.
Wow.
And of course, they tend to delay things. So
Yeah, Pikmin 3 was supposed
whatever.
to like launch with the Wii U.
Oh
and
man, I was thinking about that the other
And
day.
that
and
just
it
came out
made me so
yesterday.
sad. Yeah, exactly. Oh, don't remind me of that. So yeah, it's in theory Splatoon and Mario Maker, and I think one or two other games are supposed to launch in early next year. And if it's going to be before E3, they're going to need to tell us about it somehow. I would predict a late 2014, early 2015 Variety Direct.
Okay.
But either way, we've only had 6 this year in North America, and that includes ones that like the cross region ones. Like I think was it last year that we had the one for that museum in France for the 3DS,
Oh,
the
Louvre
Louvre
or whatever.
Well, yeah, the thing that no one can pronounce who doesn't live in France.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's including those things. We've only had 6, right? And last year we had 15 or 16, or
Wow.
quite a few. And then in 2012, I looked it up, we had 10. So it's certainly the driest year for that.
It's dwindling.
And are we going to make it to 7? Probably, if you're going to count the like amiibo thing. But in terms of the variety ones, I bet we'll get one. I think it'll be December, or maybe they'll wait till January. I don't know. I can't predict this company. Nobody can. If we could, we would have said that there were a bunch of them this year, and then there weren't. So, I can at least appreciate them for giving me a nice little Nintendo clubhouse of Nintendo information that I can just immerse myself in, because there's no like dumb, like it feels like a mini Space World. You know Space World in 2000, 2001, 1990s, Nintendo's little expo. It's like a little Space World in a video that's just separate from real life, full of Nintendo weird anachronisms and strange Iwata pointing his hands at you and stuff like that. And I like that. I really like that atmosphere. So it's a shame we're not getting as much of it as we could. Though Australia did get one recently, didn't they, for that new 3DS?
Oh, they got a direct for it?
I think so. Yeah, I think they got a little surprise. I guess it would be a Nintendo Direct Mini, as they say, to surprise them with the 3DS. So that technically would be in English if you wanted to watch that just for the fun of it. But it'd probably make you sad that we're not getting it.
I have it right here to my right.
Oh,
There's a new
I forgot that you have one. Is that the Australian one?
No, it's a Japanese one.
Japanese. Australian one's not out yet, I don't think.
November.
Okay, all right. So the Japanese one. Well, that's good. I'm glad that you get to have all the fun.
Well, it doesn't
But it's
have any
region locked.
faceplates. It has no faceplates, so it's worthless to me as of
True,
right now.
and you're a person that gets into that custom. You probably bought all the 3DS themes, haven't you?
I've got no, I haven't bought any of those yet.
Really? Even I bought one, and I don't like that crap. So that's surprising. No, I'm excited for the new 3DS, and they got a direct for it. So
I'd imagine that'll have a direct for North America and Europe as well.
maybe that'll be what it is, because it's supposed to come out early next year, right?
I'd imagine, yeah.
The new 3DS should be early next year, so maybe we'll get a big direct with some Splatoon love, some Mario Maker, some new 3DS. Probably talk about Xenoblade on 3DS, which I know that you hate Shulk. I don't know if you hate Xenoblade, but whatever.
According to the internet, I hate everything and love everything, so I don't know how I've pulled that off.
You love Xenoblade, then we can.
Yeah.
That's okay. Good.
Depends who you ask.
Well, I'm asking you.
I would say I didn't like the Wii game, but I am actually looking forward to the sequel because you can fly around in giant mechs.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that's all I need.
Interesting. Well, we'll see how that plays out. Do you have a favorite Nintendo Direct of all time? Do you? Do you think of it in that regard, like as entertainment, as I do?
I do. See, I don't know if I could specifically say like one of the. We keep saying this, but one of the variety of videos.
Yeah, it's hard to remember.
Those are hard to pinpoint.
Definitely, yeah. Are there any moments that stick out to you?
Any one of them that was showing us new stuff for Pikmin 3 was very oh no, the Pikmin 3 that got a direct, didn't it?
It did, yeah. It did get it got its own little special direct. So
yeah, that would probably be my
judge
favorite.
it more based on the information we get then, rather than the Kamiya dressing up in a silly suit and pretending to be Iwata.
Well, that's always fun.
Right, or Bill Trinan doing the weird Tomodachi stuff that he was doing. That's where I tend to lean. I like those Treehouse guys a lot, like Reggie, and they all make me chuckle. So, yeah, I appreciate the directs for that.
They seem to be getting they seem to be getting crazier, and I've noticed maybe the Nintendo Direct as we knew it is kind of dying out, but they are trying new things because if you'll remember, just recently they did a Treehouse Live thing where they broadcast live from the Nintendo of America Treehouse and played a bunch of games.
So, well, at the very least, that means they're sort of branching out into sort of video content like that. I don't that that might be a better way of getting that information across, because if you remember at E3, that Nintendo Treehouse live stream was hugely popular.
Yeah. People
were all over that thing, and I don't know if the recent one was as impactful. Certainly not, relative to the time that it came out. I don't know if it was as impactful.
Well, and the games weren't totally new either.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So, but that's actual gameplay footage, right? That's people playing the games and you get to watch. So that's certainly worth something to a lot of people. So maybe we're going to lean back from doing so many directs and lean maybe a little bit more into these Treehouse Live things, because those guys at the Treehouse are generally very well spoken and charismatic, and they're able to carry themselves and do a live stream with minimal awkwardness that usually comes off as sort of endearing. So
I have a confession to make.
Okay.
I have a very not innocent man crush on Nate Bildorf.
Oh, I love Nate Bildorf. They're so great. It's Nate Bildorf, Eric Peterson, Leslie Swan doesn't work there anymore. Bill Trinan. Who else is at the Treehouse? Allison Rapp, JC. There's
Kit
so many
Krista.
people over there that I just saw. Kit and Krista are just look. All right, let me take a second here.
I love those two.
I love those two as well. I don't know if we love them in the same way though, because these things, what are those called? Nintendo Minutes. First of all, give me Allison and Gary back. I need my Nintendo Week.
No way!
Stop it.
No.
You need Allison and Gary. They were the greatest video producers Nintendo has ever had.
They're dead now.
Whatever. I don't know where they are.
We're not resurrecting them.
I would love to resurrect them, and I would produce that show for free if I could get those two back on my Wii. Anyway, so Nintendo Minute is kind of like Nintendo Direct, but not as good. Is it just me, or are Kit and Krista kind of really awkward? Like really awkward sometimes? I mean, come on, be real with me. Level with me here, Josh.
Are Kit and Krista awkward?
Are they awkward?
I think
is it just me, or is there like a lot of weird, I don't know, I wouldn't say tension, like anger tension, but it's just a weird show. It makes me laugh because I think they're really awkward. Maybe that's just me.
Well, then it's working for you.
It's working amazingly for me. I love Kit and Krista to no end.
I love it. Obviously it doesn't have the production value that like Nintendo Minute had.
You mean Nintendo Week?
Yeah, Nintendo Week.
Right,
yeah.
Nintendo Week. The whole the thing that was only available on the Nintendo channel of the Wii that nobody downloaded.
You're right.
So
what was the thing in between that? There was Nintendo Week, Nintendo Minute. What was that Nintendo show?
It was the thing that they put up on the eShop and then on their YouTube channel with Jesse Cantrell, who I just recall all of the comments on YouTube were just purely about how people found her very attractive and not at all about the show. So I have very fond laughing memories of that show and Jesse Cantrell. That was a funny little interim.
I remember she did a pretty good job at it.
Oh yeah, she was fine at it. I mean,
she was cheesy, but that's what you expect.
That's Nintendo, right? Not as cheesy as Kit and Krista, which is a bummer.
Oh, you think Kit and Krista are cheesy?
Oh, they're so. God, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, and I'm the only one that realizes this, and like a small group of people that I talk to. But God, they are just. They're just cheesy and weird, and half the time, and I know they don't. But half the time, it kind of feels like they hate each other, like a lot. That's just the vibe that I get. Like, there's one where they're unboxing. I want to say it's the Mario Kart 8 Wii U. They're doing an unboxing of it, and it's just the most awkward thing in the world. I love it though. I really do. But no one in the comments seems to mention that, so I guess maybe I'm just crazy.
I think you're the one with the problem.
It's quite possible, but at least I'm enjoying it on some level.
Yeah,
so.
There you go. Nintendo Minute is pretty frequent, I believe.
They do those all the time. Every few weeks, I feel like.
I think even sooner than that.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't really watch them very often. I do when I need a little laugh, but or if they're doing something like playing. They did one where they played Mario Kart, and that was kind of fun to watch. They brought in some people from the Treehouse, so. But I do like
3D World.
They did play 3D World as well, yeah.
So in a way. It's like Nintendo Minute is kind of another variation of the Nintendo Direct in a way.
Right, yeah, but with co-hosts that are just really cool. No, it's obviously less produced, right? They just
Right.
kind of point a camera at Kit and Krista and hit record, and then they try and stumble their way through some kind of conversation or information sharing. So it's less information based than Nintendo Direct, but yeah,
Right.
it's the same type of thing, just less exciting.
So
And that's really
Austin,
the core of this, right? It's less
right,
exciting, and we want the excitement.
basically. Here's a
Yes.
question I'd like to pose to you.
Pose it.
I'm ready to pose. Get ready for the posing.
I've been playing my Wii Fit Trainer in Smash. I'm all able to
Oh,
pose Sun
geez.
Salutation. I'll do it all. Warrior pose, doesn't matter.
Oh gosh, now you're intimidating me.
You should be intimidated. I am a flexible individual.
I've never seen any proof of this, but I'm going to assume
There's
that
a
you're not
reason we
lying.
don't have a face cam on Egg Bus, which you see. And it's because people
Your
would
legs are wrapped around your neck right now.
constantly, all the time. I do not live, I walk on my arms all the time. Anyway, what's your question?
The question is, where do you see Nintendo Direct going in the future, or where do you want it to go in the future?
I'd like it if it was like it was last year. I liked how last year, I mean, I could do with a few less. There's a certain point where you oversaturate more than once a month. I think you're pushing it. Every other month, a variety Nintendo Direct would be good. But I'm not against having individual game directs. I think that maybe there's something to be said for them squeezing those into the variety Nintendo Directs, because then, like you said, more people will end up being exposed to it. But something like the Tomodachi Life Direct, I think, as a self-contained work of art, let's call it,
Okay.
a self-contained work of art, did a very good job of using the strengths of a little short video to convey exactly the feelings that Tomodachi Life was trying to get across. So that kind of thing has a lot of potential, but I don't know if you could do it with much else aside from Tomodachi Life. So
Right.
primarily, I would lean on those every 2 months, a nice variety direct, one at E3, and then, yeah, maybe there's not even a point to the individual game directs. I think I'm siding with you on that overall. You can just squeeze those into a bigger production. So, yeah, that's I think overall I'm going to side with you. Let's say a variety direct every 2 months with Treehouse streams every 4. Doesn't have to be exact. I'm not
Seasonally.
counting. Seasonal, yes, seasonal Treehouse streams. We can watch the leaves change at the treehouse. There's a little kind of a little pun for you, and yeah, I think that's what I would do.
I pretty much agree. I
Okay.
think that they should probably, unless it's a huge game like Mario Kart or something like that, don't do an individual direct for it. Because the thinking is probably the opposite of that. Like, oh, Bayonetta 2, that's going to be hard to sell, so we should devote an entire Nintendo Direct
Right.
to help it sell. But it's
Yeah.
actually going to do the opposite of that because nobody's, well, not nobody, but people who aren't really interested aren't going to be like, oh, I'll sit down for 20 minutes and watch this video about a game that I'm not even interested in.
Exactly. Now,
But if you toss Mario in there and maybe some Metroid and maybe something else, then it's like they watch and they get the information.
right, and then,
unwillingly.
like, Bayonetta comes up on the screen, and they're like, "What is this?" And then they might like it. So,
Yeah.
Now we should make it clear, first of all, Nintendo does have probably millions of dollars poured into market research to decide how to promote their games. Maybe they know something we don't, right? Maybe they've got big market teams figuring out that, oh, the individual directs are better for game sales. But intuitively, it seems like they wouldn't be.
Right.
So maybe they have information we don't have, but
To be fair, I have heard other people basically mirroring what we're saying here tonight.
yeah.
The same
no,
thing
I'm-
of like, I don't tune into the ones that are just games because there's no surprise and I already,
Absolutely, but I would assume most of the people that we would talk to in that regard are sort of gamery gamers, and so maybe there's some weird mark. I don't know. You're probably right. I give up. You're.
I'm
probably
always right,
correct.
Austin.
Yeah.
You see, you've learned something tonight.
Well, the problem is I looked at that Skype picture again and I got constipated. Yeah, and also I just want to make a quick note. God, what was it? I was going to say something. I was going to start yelling. I got very upset at something you said. Not against you.
Somebody
but it
got
was-
upset at something I said? And,
No
wow,
way.
that's weird.
Oh man. Well, we're gonna have to miss out on that because I cannot remember for the life of me, what it was. Oh well.
We're gonna sit here until you remember.
I'll give it another like 10 seconds. I'm trying to think what we were talking about.
Well, we were talking about how they need to stop doing individual Nintendo Directs, go back to
Right.
the variety show thing.
And then like Treehouse every seasonal something or other.
Let's
Oh,
just
man.
assume you were going to say that it's amazing that I'm always so right about my predictions on video games.
I think that's what it was. That doesn't totally satiate that desire I have to figure it out, but I think that feels right. It feels like something I should be saying. So we'll go with that. That's fine.
So yeah, I mean, both of us are fans of the Nintendo Direct. We hope that it has a good future. I mean, I think they should mix in the Nintendo Minutes and the live streams and the variety directs.
They serve different purposes, right? Like they're for different people generally. The live streams are going to be more focused towards people who are, well, I don't know, people who maybe are not as convinced as that. Because, for instance, you do a Bayonetta 2 live stream. I'm probably not going to tune in. I'm going to buy that game, so it doesn't, But if you make an event of it and people say, "Oh, Nintendo is live right now," they'll just click a quick tune in, maybe. So,
if they would have had somebody dressed up as Bayonetta, I would have watched it.
They did at E3 at I think it was 2013. They had a Bayonetta cosplayer. So, just saying,
that didn't do me any good. I wasn't there.
They should have. You weren't there. That's true. They should have brought that person in to do the Treehouse live stream. But they didn't. That's the real. You should You should send them a letter.
I'm going.
Hey,
well, I send them letters all the time.
Dear Nintendo, please hire me to be the leader of all of your marketing.
Well, no, they're more like, "Dear Mr. Miyamoto, what is your favorite topping on pizza?"
I have to know. It's so important. How am I supposed to know what to eat if I don't know what you eat?
Exactly.
That's my daily struggle, Josh. It really is.
All right. So for everybody listening, be sure to leave a comment below and let us know what you think of the Nintendo Directs. What are your favorite types?
Like the video.
And be sure to do all that stuff. And also, Austin, where can they follow you?
I'm on Twitter at NE_Austin, and I have a YouTube channel. You can find it there. Or you don't have to. I don't care.
I think they should, because Egg Busters is a video series you do, which I think is amazing. I'm always very excited when a new one pops up. They don't pop up frequently enough, so you should really be getting to work on that.
Dude, they take so much time.
Well, you just started back on it again. You did one for Mario Kart 8.
Yes, I did one, and then we did one for that game that's not on Nintendo systems, BioShock. I should mention, it's funny that you asked me to do this, because there's every once in a while I do like a chat video with Brian on Nintendo Everything, and we did one about Nintendo Direct a few months ago. So I was very well prepared. That's why I sounded so eloquent. It's not my fault.
So you cheated.
I cheated a little bit. It's not my fault though. In the words of Lando Calrissian, it's not my
never
fault.
your fault.
Never.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to check out Austin, and hopefully we get some news on.
Make sure you follow Josh Thomas on Twitter at
you don't have to
the
do that.
BitBlock. Well,
they don't have to do that.
I mean,
they're just going to get upset over stupid things that I say.
Yeah, but that's half the fun of being on Twitter, isn't it?
That's true.
Exactly. So what are you trying? That's like, don't hold it against people when they get mad at people on Twitter. Like if Josh says something, we need to be done. That's it. If Josh says something dumb on
continue
Twitter,
this on. If Josh says something stupid,
I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. I'll do the yelling, and then we'll get into a nice heated debate.
All right.
And then we can all move on and not holding it against each other, because it's just Twitter. Who cares? Doesn't matter. That's how I feel about Twitter.
All right. There you go. Everything's wrapped up.
All right.
Hey, thanks for watching this video from the BitBlock. If you want to stay up to date on tons of exclusive Nintendo content, be sure to subscribe by clicking here. And if you don't want the fun to end, you can check out more Nintendo coverage by clicking over here.